Alright guys, got a little introduction here of the Carlin Easy Gas Pro conversion burner. I just took this course and I want to go over a couple of things where you could see the differences. This is 11 2013 and newer would be this version. The newer version has a different control processor which has a digital readout. This one has a 24 volt gas valve, and there's a transformer in here. So you got 110 coming down to the old oil burner that was here. That was taken out, this was put in, so you got 110 coming down to the control. Everything on this burner is 110, the motor's 110, the transformer's 110. Then it feeds 110 over here to a step-down transformer, and then 24 volts to the new gas valve. Now the one that was pre-2013 had a 110 gas valve, no transformer, it just had a vacuum switch here, and I'm going to show you some pictures of it so you know the difference. So by looking at this, I know this is a new style one because of the control and this black cover. Inside here there's a step-down transformer and a vacuum switch, and I'll show you all that also. See, this comes in. This is 3/4 in, 3/4 out on the gas valve. No thermocouple. This little nipple right here has a little welded plate in here. This one is what's got a white coating on it. It's pre-drilled from the factory. If you got one like this that's got a yellow tag on it, you got to drill this hole for the amount of gas you need. And how this is set up, this comes in here. Inside here there's a pipe inside of a pipe. Okay, there's a motor here with a fan, and then the fan will blow air in. There's a pipe inside of a pipe that's welded inside here. So when this gas comes in, it can't come this way because it's welded all the way around. It has to go down that way, and it dumps on the end there and gets mixed with the air. And there's not a lot of room here between this outer pipe and an inner pipe. If you see it, it doesn't look like there's a lot of room. So this part of the nipple has less threads on it than this part. So the gas comes in. It can't go this way because this part's all welded pipe inside of a pipe. It goes that way and mixes in the end. And I'll show you that on the next slide. Let's see what else we got going on here. If I scroll down, like I said, this is the newer version. Here's the new control. This is the control that he recommends you use even on the older one because it can show you the microamps. See the 2.6 microamps? This is the number on a control. It's a 60200FR, and it's got a reset on it. You can go in there and program this control. This is the better control, the new control. And I'm going to show you what the old control looks like. Here's the tubes here. You can get a 10, a 12, a 14, a 16, and an 18. The tube. This one here is an adjustable flange. This one here has a welded flange. Now here's the different heads that you can get. You got A, which is for 175 to 275 BTUs an hour. B is the common head, which is 50 to 175. The 9-slot head is what they recommend you use. They say it gives a better flow, you can get more microamps, it's a better all-around thing. That goes from 70 to 230 on the 9-slot. But you're only going to get these 3 heads if you buy a kit. And I'll show you that kit in a few slides coming up. Now, if you see this band here, this air band, see it's a 1-slot or a 2-slot? The 1-slot would be if you're in the lower ranges, say 100,000 BTUs, 109 or something like that, use this. If you start getting up into the 275, right here, 175 to 275, you'd have to go with the 2-slot. And if it's 50 to 175, you go with the 1-slot band. I'm going to go over all that with you. This is a cover that's available the access cover that's available. There's a couple of things you have to do if you're going to use this makeup air cover. You know, you'd have to cut it. They said you have to cut like a 4-inch takeoff off of here, and then run 4-inch outside. And also you got to put a vent tee with a barometric damper, and you'd have to get the field kit for it. And they don't have a connection on this yet for the gas, so you'd have to put just like a 4-inch takeoff. What else we got here? This is the pre-drilled orifice in this nipple. See how it's white? Alright, and then this is the service tote. I have the old service tote. This is the new service tote. See the vacuum switch? That's for the new style that we're looking at now. This is a 24-volt gas valve. Here's the transformer. And it does come with a spark plug. See the spark plug? If you ground that spark plug out and plug it into that, when it goes through the through ignition cycle, you should see it sparking to check this. That's the only way you could check it. He says that when it runs, you could hear it sparking. And this right here is a little plugs into the old control, and it's got 2 wires, so you can plug into your meter to check the microamps. This one here already has an automatic readout to check the microamps for the flame rod. I have a kit like this, but it's an older style kit. It comes with a vacuum switch, which is the old style vacuum switch, and a 110 gas valve. It does have this adapter. This adapter here is for the old control, which plugs in. You'll see that in the future shots coming up. So this kit is good to have. You could use a regular spark plug. You just have, I'm going to show that to you when I get to my daughter's house, how it's grounded, and a couple of things there. I haven't checked the microamps with the older control yet, which I want to do when I go to my daughter's house. Okay, what else we got here? Here's the manual. Okay, so you can see the way this is laid out, this pipe here. So it's a pipe inside of a pipe, and then the gas comes in here. It can't go that way because it's welded, so it has to go this way. And then the end cone here is where the gas comes out and mixes with the air. Here's the chart here. You can go by, you can look it up. Say you're going to go 50 to 75,000 BTUs. You have to drill a hole 532 if it's natural gas, if it's propane 1/8. Now 1/8 is probably the size that that hole is in there now, in the yellow labeled nipple. I'm not sure. But 75 to 100,000. See the size difference in the holes, 3/16, and this is the chart you got to go by. He says you're better off to drill a little bit smaller on the hole than too big, because you could always drill it, and if you drill it too big, you could be screwing yourself. Here's the length of the tubes: 10, 12, and 14. Okay, and here's the flame rod, and here's the igniter rod. Now if you look at the end cone like this, there's 2 screws here, and this plate will come right out. It pops in the bottom, and then there's 2 screws that hold it in. These screws can be a problem getting out after you run it for a little bit. He says sometimes you got to unscrew it. It's like a regular Phillips screwdriver, and put a screwdriver underneath to lift it up. So I'm thinking about, I am ordering some other plates, and I'm going to get some extra screws to have, because once you take these screws out, it might be a problem. It might need a little bit bigger screws or something like that. I haven't determined that yet, but I am going to look into that. Now, the flame rod comes through 1.25 inches. It sticks out past this. Now, if you have an adjustable flange, if you have an adjustable burner, you want to be back 1/4 inch from the inside of the chamber. It wants to be back 1/4 inch where it's set, where you set this flange. Now, on these flame rods, this flame rod comes through 1.25 inches past the plate. It can't ground out on this plate. So if this is coming through and it's grounding out, it's an issue. And the igniter wants to be just inside that plate. Doesn't want to be, it can't be hitting the plate. There's holes where these things can come through. Now, the guy from the factory says that if this thing's hitting the plate, there's a couple of things you could do. He had a 4-in-1 screwdriver that he took the tip off and he stuck it on there and he bent it. One guy would bend them. The other guy said he pulls the draw assembly out and just drills the holes a little bit bigger for the draw assembly so this won't hit. If this hits, you're going to have low microamps. Like 1, 2, it ain't going to be above them. The microamps have to be above 2 or the control will trip out. So they say they rather have the microamps around 2, because it's going to vary when it's running the microamps. So he says he'd like to have it around above. It's got to be above 2 or a lockout. So that's where this comes into effect. This can't be hitting. And when you put this draw assembly back in, it's got to be set proper. If you take it out to clean, you got to make sure you know where it is when you take it out after it's set up and mark it. Because if you put it in the wrong spot, then it won't ignite, right? Especially this part right here. Because this is what sends the spark down over here and it clicks. And when the gas comes through and mixes in here and fires, right here's the igniter. That's on the inside of that plate. It's not touching, just flush with the inside of the plate, the igniter. The gas comes down and it's sparking and ignites. And then the flame rod has to sense the flame, makes millivolts because it's in a flame here, this flame rod, flame sensor. This has to be cleaned every so often. He says with the LP, this gets a lot of white sediment on it. If you're running LP, it's got to be cleaned every year, every couple of years, to keep the microamps sensing that and keep the control on. This is a big gas valve. It's coming in 3/4 and it's going out 3/4. And you want to set this when you're running to 3.5, or you can go all the way to 3.8. It depends. Now this is a chart here, capacity. You gotta make sure you have enough gas coming in because this thing. And another thing you want to do is you want to run all the gas appliances in the house at the same time when you're running this. Any problem with a lockout? It could be that the gas in the street might be an issue. All right, this is the wiring for the new control. The old control had like a connection where it had like a little hub where you put this little wire on. The new control is just a regular wire connection. You just cut it off and splice it and put a wire connector on there. You got to make sure you have a good ground. Good ground is very important. You got the wire coming from the limit, which goes to the black, which will fire the burner up and off on limit. The red with the white is constant power for the post-purge, and then you got the white, which is the neutral. And then this is the air where you're gonna set your air band, which will control your oxygen, your combustion, and your microamps to keep the control on. If you don't have enough air, your microamps is gonna be too low. Too much air, the thing won't fire. The combustion won't be proper. So this has to be set up right. Alright guys, so I don't know if you can see this, but this is the differential, the approximate air band setting to get started. So you have a type A or 9 slot and the 75 to 100,000 BTUs. You pre-drilled your hole for 3/16. You set your air band about 10% to get started. Then once you start it, you got to check the microamps. So your microamps are like just around 2. So you give it more air, maybe 15%, and then you bring them microamps to like up to 2.5 or 2.8. But this is a starting point where you'd set your air band setting. There's all kinds of charts. This thing has so many charts you'd have to go by and look. I got 3 different books. I got this book. I got this other book. And there was one more book that I got. There was the other book. Burner setup. And you could look up. There's all different stuff you can look up in here. I mean, these books are good to get. If you went and took the course, they'd give you these books. And also, a guy gave me a manometer. When I took the course, he gave me a manometer for free. Miss Molly. That's my buddy, Miss Molly, up there. See a little bed on the desk up there? Miss Molly, good morning, Miss Molly, good morning. Good morning, Miss Molly. Oxygen, he says, when it's running the natural gas, he says right around 4.5 is a good thing to shoot for in the oxygen, and the CO should be below 10 if it's running clean. You can't have a lot of high CO. It's incomplete combustion. You won't have enough air or too much, you know. You got to adjust the air to the gas ratio. And another thing you got to be concerned about is the stack temperature. Regulators should never increase 14 inches on propane, or you could blow the gas valve out. 14 coming in, but on the manifold side, there's still 3.5 if it's propane. Okay, this is a picture of an old style one. This one right here, you can see this connector right here. This is for the old control. This is a 110 gas valve. See this 110? This is the one I have in my daughter's house. See how it's got the old vacuum switch here? And it's got a port that goes in where the old drawer assembly used to be for the oil burner. This is the same chassis as a Carlin Easy 1 oil-fired burner. The motor's different, less horsepower, because it just running the fan. This is the old style one, pre-13. It's got the vacuum switch with a 110 gas valve. This particular unit does not have a control. It's on eBay for sale. Let me show you another one. Here's another one. This is the new style one. See the black cover? So you know it's a new style pre-13, but it's got the old control. See it? And this one has this orifice has to be drilled because it's yellow. That another one here. Looking at this, I know this is a newer control, newer burner because it's got this cover on it. But this one has a long nipple. I'm going to show you why. And see this box right here? Oh, it's a short box. It's not a standard high box like they have in the newer control. I'll show you why. See, it can put the makeup air cover on it. The makeup air cover, you have to go with a longer nipple. See it? There's the makeup air cover right there. And then it attaches right here on the end. You'll see there's a little screw on there. Hopefully you guys can see this. And it's got to go with a longer nipple, and it has to have a shorter box. If not, this makeup air cover won't work. Here we go. It's a little bit bigger. It's got the long nipple that has to be pre-drilled because it's got the yellow. It's got the 2-band. See, it's got the 2-band, so this is a high output. This is a high BTU unit right here. See this hole right here? That's where the cover goes for the screw. You could use a standard burner motor, which would be bigger than this. This is a lower RPM, lower horsepower motor because it's running just a fan. See how this box is smaller? This has to be changed, and the nipple has to be changed. This is a smaller, regular electrical box, because if not, the cover won't fit, from what they say. This one's got a smaller band on it. See it? It's going to be a smaller BTU. Small box so the cover fits. The cover screws in right here. Longer nipple so this won't hit. Okay, so that's that on that. Just a little introduction of, you know, the difference between the two burners. This one is 2013 or older would be this style, which I have at my daughter's house. And then the new upgraded style, which is 2013 and newer, which if you bought one, this would be the one you'd want to get. Okay? Alright guys, this is the transformer. Obviously, if this was on a burner, it'd be on a plate. This thing would flip over. You know, when you'd flip it back, this would be attached and it would have a plate. And there's a couple of screws that hold this transformer down. You know, and this would plug in to the igniter rod. But if you wanted to test this thing, you could flip it over, unplug this off the flame rod, right? Off the igniter. You could plug the spark plug into this. And they tell you to take the screw out and you could plug the spark plug adapter. It's got like the spark plug's got like this ground adapter that you could stick into here and plug that into the spark plug, and then once you run it, once it goes through the 6-second ignition, you should see it sparking in the spark plug. That's how you check this transformer. This is a 9,000 volt transformer. Now, the guy at the factory said that you could hear it sparking when you run it. You could hear it sparking down the tube. So he usually doesn't do this test with the spark plug, but it's just something that... Now, what we did at the factory when we flipped this over, you know where the two little latches are? We just put the spark plug in one of those little, where the latches flip over to hold this plate down. Well, I just stuck it in one of them little latches and screwed it down, and it sparked. It worked like that. So you don't really have to take the screw out. All you have to do is, when you flip this down, there's two little latches that hold this plate down. There's one, I just used the one on this side. I just screwed that down, that Phillips screw, make it tight, and I just stuck it in that hole and stuck this in the spark plug. As long as the spark plug is grounded, it's going to spark, right? Just like on a lawnmower, same type of thing. And you could just use a spark plug. It looks like the gap was opened up on the end of the spark plug. I'm going to go over that when I go to my daughter's house. Just a little thing. Because I was wondering how you test these igniters. Because, you know, like an oil burner one, you just put a screwdriver across it. You can't do that with this. But that's how they check it.